Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday evening with the Wexford Stamper. Hope everyone is having a good Tuesday. And you are right, Renee. It is the last Tuesday of August. Can you believe it? It is unbelievable how that summer just went by. So I'm so glad you all could make it today. And I'll keep looking at my messages here and my comments and take a little time to make sure everybody gets in. But thanks again for joining me this evening. Hello, April and Anne. Nice to see you guys. Tonight, we are going to be doing another project that uses that free DSP we got for celebration. You can use that if you'd like, or if you didn't get any celebration DSP, it's a project you can do with any pack of 12 by 12 DSP. So I think you're really gonna love it. And the reason I have the picture on me tonight is because I wanted to show you what the project looks like, and it's so big that I thought it would be, you'd be able to see it better this way. So if you saw any of the pictures on my blog or on Facebook, we are going to be making a gift bag that is a handbag. And here's one of them right here. I can hardly put it in the picture here. And it has the pleated sides. Hey, Deb. On both sides, it has pleats. And then it has a magnet to close it. Look at all that room in there. And I'm thinking, you know, what could you put in there? And I thought, Renee, you could probably put your whole sock drawer in here. I'm not kidding, Renee. Your whole sock drawer could fit in here. So I put the magnetic behind this cute little element that I made to look like the little snap on the top. And then I made a little tag here. And as we get closer to that part of the project, I will tell you where I got that one as well. All right, so here's one of them. This one might be my favorite. This is Orchid Oasis, this paper that I used to complement it, but I love the medallions on this. It's just so pretty. And you could really use this for any occasion. Really, really cute. All right, and then I have this one here is from some of the other DSP that I got. Isn't that pretty too, with the very fall-like? And then I used some Daffodil Delight for the pleats on each side and for the top. And then again, we have the magnet that keeps it open and closed. And then this is just made out of designer series paper as well. But I would recommend having liquid glue to put this together because it is a large bag and it would really secure it well. And here I made a little crumb cake tag. And then one more, which is Mary Harshall's favorite. This is from the paper from Wonderful World. She loves this paper with the large flowers. I love it too. And then I use the Mossy Meadow for my pleats and for my lid. And then I have a little cute little pear pizzazz. Oh, I always go the wrong way. There we go. A pear pizzazz for the tag. So cute. It is just adorable and it's super easy to put together. You're going to be shocked. Now, before we get to that, let's go ahead and head down here onto my workspace here. I want to remind you that we are having a Christmas card event. We had one this month and it went really, really well. Thank you, Deb. And for next 2 months, that's September and October, we're going to do Christmas cards again. And next month is the Sweetest Christmas, and it has candy canes. So really cute. And you'll be making 4 different cards, a total of 15 cards altogether. Here's one of the cards you'll be making. I love how they have some unusual or unique color palette here for some of the cards. Here's another cute one, that with the candy cane. And then this one I used the candy cane paper and just used a little bit of the holly there. All those are available with the die cuts that come with the set. And then this one may be my favorite. This one uses the strawberry sorbet and the parakeet party. So it's some of the in colors that make a bright Christmas card. So this is you'll make 15 cards together. You'll get 15 cards in envelopes. You will get a half a pack of the designer series paper, a full pack of the glimmer paper, and a pack of the real red and garden green ribbon combo pack. So you'll get everything you need plus the cardstock and the dies that you'll be able to put it all together. So you're welcome to come here on the 30th of September and put them together, or if you cannot make it or would prefer not to come, I have to-go kits and links to online tutorials. So just wanted to let you know that's where we are with that. And then an update on some of my sewing today. I went back to my sunflowers. Again, I've got this gorgeous fabric with sunflowers on it, and I made these today. Oops, some threads still hanging on them. These are my wristlets. I haven't made the little loop on your wrist yet, but I made these two here. These are great gifts. And then I made this one since I didn't have a lot of the paper left. I just went ahead and made a little patchwork one, and I have the lining sticking out because I still haven't sewed that together yet. And that one needs a wristlet as well. So those are some projects I was working on today. I know, me too, Renee. I might have to go get some more. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. As I said, today we are going to be using the paper from the Wonderful World bundle. This was a free bundle that was given for celebration. Thank you, April. I just love making them. And we're going to be focusing on this paper. Now, if you did not get the free paper, fear not. We will be able to use it on any of the papers. I'm sure many of you have a nice stash just like me. And as always, there will be a PDF available on my blog as soon as this is over. So, hey, Rise! You can go on my blog, which is at www.thewexfordstamper.blogspot.com, and click on the link. It will take you right to the downloadable PDF, and you can get one because sometimes I do better when I have things in writing rather than trying to read off a screen. So those are all yours. All right, let's go ahead and get started. That's enough of that. All right. I chose some paper, again, from the Wonderful World, and I chose this color, and I really can't wait to put this together. This is so pretty. I love this paper. So let me go ahead and tell you the sizes. We're going to start and make the body first. Okay, so you're going to need two 12 by 12 pieces of the DSP. You would want to use a design that is the same. Okay, one of the pieces you are going to cut at 8 by 11.5. That's this one. And you probably can't see the score lines, but it's 8 by 11.5. Score it at 8 and 11. Okay, you're 8 by 11.5. Score at 8 and 11. You're making your little piece here that we're going to be gluing them together. And then you have a second piece of designer series paper for the bag, and this is at 8 by 8. All right, so let's go ahead and get out our bone folder, and we'll do some folding and creasing here. When you're doing your scoring on the designer series paper, you want to be a little more gentle than you would be with your cardstock, or you might tear it. So when you're doing your scoring with your scoring board, make sure you use the end with the larger ball. If you look, there's an end that has a small ball there. Can you see that? Move it up there. Wait, too high. And then the other side is a little larger. You want to use the larger one when you're doing the designer series paper. Then you won't go through it. All right, now here's the time where you want to look and see if you have an orientation with your paper. Okay, and I definitely do with this paper. This is the top and bottom. Okay, so you want to take this paper and make sure that you score it with the top at the top. And then you're going to score here. And then what you're going to do, we're going to glue these together and make sure that you are adhering the bottom of the 8x8 piece to that 1/2 inch panel right there, because you want that to be either the front or the back of your purse, and you want it to be going the right direction. I hope that makes sense. So just be aware of the orientation of your paper. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue along that bottom 1/2 inch by 8 inches. I'm going to take this 8 inch by 8 inch piece, being aware that this is the top and this is the bottom. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down. And I'm trying to keep that fold line and the edge of the 8x8 paper right against each other, because this is going to be your purse. Okay, that's the bottom of your purse here. And then these are the front and back. All right. So that's our first step. You want to go ahead and do that. Then the next thing we're going to need to do is make the pleats on the side of our bag. Okay, so let me bring in one of the bags and I'll show you what I mean. These are the pleats on the side. Okay, and you want to do nice scoring lines here, because then it'll be nice and clean when you put your bag together. Okay, let me show you how that works. You're going to need 2 pieces of coordinating card stock. And I picked Blushing Bride. I was excited to pick Blushing Bride, seeing what this one's going to look like. And these pieces are, let me make sure, 4 by 8.5. Okay, 4 by 8.5. We're going to have to do a little bit of scoring with these. Okay, let's grab our scoring board. We're going to put one of the short ends at the top, okay, the 4-inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch and 3.5. So it's really just a 1/2 inch on each side. Okay, now this is the top of the panel. So we do not want to put another score line up there, but we're going to turn this clockwise and put a score line along the bottom there. Okay, so no horizontal score line across the top, just the bottom here. Okay, does that make sense? Then we're going to put it back to the top again, and we're going to go to the 2-inch mark, and we're going to score down to here where it says 6 inches. Okay, so this is a partial score. This is how we create the pleat. So right down the center at 2 to 6. All right, let's do the same thing with the other. Okay, remember we have 1/2 inch on here, 3.5. That's on the short side. Then we're going to turn it clockwise, another 1/2. Okay, now we're going to turn it back to the short side. We're going to go to the 2-inch mark. This is our partial score. And we're going to go down to where we see the 6-inch along the vertical. Okay, and stop. Doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about that. As close as you can get. All right, now we're going to grab our ruler. Okay, and let me bring this up to the camera so you can see what I'm going to do here. Okay, I am going to create a score line that goes from the bottom of that partial score line down to the corner. Partial score line to that corner. That's what's going to create our pleat. Because if we just let it kind of pleat on its own, it's not going to be nice and clean. So it's better to kind of tell the paper what way you want it to bend, because it can have a mind of its own. All right, so let me show you what I did there. There we go. Okay, so that's both. You can't see the other one there. Yeah, so I made like a triangle at the bottom there. We're going to do the same thing with the second piece. Okay, up and up. All right, put that away. There is our second triangle. All right, now I am going to grab my bone folder and we're going to go ahead and fold on all these score lines. Hope everybody is enjoying their last few days of summer here. We are doing well here. Hannah is at school and we're trying to get into a new routine, our fall routine. So everything is going well. There is one, and if you notice, I folded these on the border backwards, and then the ones that create the pleat, I'm going to fold in the opposite way. Okay, and you want to do that, give them a good fold, so when they're put together and placed inside and you squeeze the top of the bag, that they're going to make the pleat where you want it to. Okay, then I'm going to grab my scissors, and we're just going to cut off this corner just below the place where those two score lines come together. Let me show you. Just like that. Okay, let's do the same thing over here. We're going to cut right below that intersection point. Let's do the same thing with this second one. This should look like the side panels of the purse. And you're probably thinking in your head that you're understanding how it's going to come together. Now here I went opposite again with my score lines that are creating the pleat. Then I'm going to grab my scissors again and cut off those corners. That's it. All right, so now we're ready to go ahead and put the sides of our bag on our purse. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with this one here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue along here, and then we're going to attach it here. You want it to be right against the side, so the fold is right at the edge of your bag, and the top is up at the top of that piece of Designer Series paper. All right, don't need a lot of glue. We don't want to have a lot of squishing. Okay, and I usually, for the first one at least, I will turn it over this way and line it up this way like that. Ooh, isn't that pretty? That's going to be so nice. I thought about going with the darker pink, but I'm glad I went with the Blushing Bride. All right, so there is, okay, the side of the bag. The panel. Now we're going to put the other panel on before we put that side all together because it makes it easier to get at. So we're going to have to turn it around, and this one is going to go on the opposite side right here. Okay, same thing. I like doing it kind of backwards with the paper showing up because you can be more accurate when you're placing your paper down. And with the Tombow, it gives you a little bit of time to slide it around before we're stuck for good. All right, so there we go. Okay, we have both of them down. One on the top, one on the bottom. Now we're going to start putting the bag together. Let's work back up on here. We're going to have to turn it over this time. Okay, we're going to put some glue on the bottom and on the other side here. Just a little. Don't need a lot. This Tombow is great. Okay, come on you. There we go. Okay, now we're going to fold it up, and the short edge goes along the bottom. So we're just going to go ahead and line it up. This is hard to show. I'm like right up at the camera. Okay, we're going to line it right up the edge of the DSP right up to the fold. And I'm going to turn it over like this. And I'm going to push it down. All right, so there we have that. That's down. Then I'm going to just keep going and bring the other side over. And that I'm just going to make sure it lines up with the top, and then just gently push down along the edge and make sure it lines up right to the edge of the bag. Okay, so we got one side done. How is that going? You girls think that's something you can do? Give me some hearts if you're ready to go ahead and make some handbags. This is just a great, great gift bag. I mean, this will blow your friends away. It'll blow their socks off, right? Right, Renee? All right, I'm doing the same thing with the second side. There goes my short side inside the bottom. And my long side. And I love my Tombow, gives me time to scoot things around, push things together, get inside there, and I can do a little bit of pushing. There we go. And I'm going to turn it back down and give it a good firm press. You could even use your bone folder if you'd like. All right, there we go. Look at the space in there. Wow, wow, so much space. All right, now, if you've done a good job with your reverse pleats, when you squeeze the side of your bag, they will start to take shape. Okay? Just be gentle. Okay? Gently pushing those together. Okay. All right, we're ready to put the lid on. How are we doing here? Everybody good? All right, here is the panel for the lid. This piece is 6.5 by 8 inches. And actually it's not 8 inches, it's just under 8. So when I cut it, I maybe took off a 30 seconds, just so we can slide it inside the bag. If we made it the exact same size, we would have trouble getting it out. So, getting it in, I mean. So, I made the 8-inch side just a hair under 8. The other side is 6.5. And I scored on the short side at 2 and 3.5. Okay, so we're making kind of like a 3-paneled top piece for the bag. Okay, and then we'll talk about how each piece works here. The longest piece is going to be the front of the bag. Let me grab my bag here. Okay, so the longest panel goes right in the front, like that. So you notice it has some rounded corners. So I'm going to bring in my corner rounder. This is sadly is no longer available. It is out of stock, but you can certainly, not out of stock, it's just been retired. Hopefully you have something similar, or you could get something on Amazon, I'm sure, for a corner rounder. It just gives the project a little bit of a nice look on the front. All right, so we have, this is the front, this is the top, and this panel here in the back is the one that goes inside the back of the box. All right, so let's grab our glue again. We're going to go ahead and put glue on the back panel. Don't need a lot. Okay, now we're going to bring in our box, decide what you want the front and the back to be. Doesn't matter really for me. You're going to take your back panel, slide it inside the bag, and you're going to slide it all the way down to the first horizontal fold line. Okay, so all that glued section goes down inside the back of your box, and then you're going to turn it over and kind of push down on it. Okay, so there you have your bag. Okay, and if you notice, it has a little bit of a lip at the top so that you don't have to close the bag real tight. So that helps your pleats look really pretty on the side. Okay, so now we have our lid on. Now let's go ahead and use our magnets, and I'll show you how easy it is to make the closure. Okay, what I did with these, let me grab another one, is I made a cute little element here, almost like a jewel, that is going to be the focal point for the purse, how you open and close it, but you will be able to hide your magnet behind there. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you how that works. All right, first thing I'm going to do is make my little element for on the front, and for that one I use the, oh, what's the name of that punch? It is the double oval punch. Of course I knew that. And where did I put it? My double oval punch seems to be missing. I did have it here. Double oval punch. Oh, I didn't have it here. Excuse me, gals. This is the one I was looking for, the double oval. This is still available, and it gives you the oval and then the scalloped oval, so that you have the same size, not the same size, but coordinating sizes. So I'm going to make my little gem. I'm going to use the Flirty Flamingo for that. Okay, that's another one of the coordinating colors. You just have to look on the back of the cardboard that comes with the DSP, and it tells you all the coordinating cardstock colors. And then this is a Mossy Meadow scallop. Okay, and that's going to be my little gem, or my little element that goes on the front. Okay, so that's going to be my front, just like that. All right, so we're going to grab the bag, and I'm going to go ahead and get some dimensionals, and I'm also going to get some of the magnets. These are the craft magnets. I've used these several times for lots of different projects. You're going to need 2 of them here. You can see I need some more. These are tiny but mighty. Believe me, they are really, really strong. And I'm going to take one of them using a glue dot. Put a glue dot on the back of the magnet. And I'm going to go ahead and place that right on the lid of my box, my gift box. Okay, so I'm going to put it right about there. Okay, so that's right on the front of the bag, but you don't have to worry, because we are going to be using our little gem that we're making here to cover that. So if you see, let me lay this down so you can see better. I'm going to put my dimensionals on the edge of the oval, so that little magnet can be right in the center. All right, so let's go ahead and put this, and this was a little more challenging to try to center because it's a big, long distance. So what I did is I took a ruler, and I know that this is 8 inches across, so I tried to line it up as best I can at the 4-inch mark. There, that looks pretty good. All right, so there we have our gem on the front, all ready to go. I think I'm going to lift it just a little higher so we can see a little more of the cardstock beneath my little gem. So let's raise it up a bit. That's better. I like having a little bit showing there. Okay, so now placing the other one is a little harder with this one, because we really can't do my usual little trick that I do. So for this one, you're going to take your other magnet, and you're just going to let it attach itself to the underside of the flap. Okay, then you're going to take your pick tool, grab another gem, and put it right on top there. Okay, now what I usually do is I close it and it sticks, and we know exactly where it goes. We can't really do it with this bag because it's just too fragile, and with the pleats you're not going to get an accurate placement. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a tiny little drop of glue, and that's going to act kind of as a little marker, so I'll know exactly where this ends up. Okay, so watch, I'm gonna close it. Remember, you wanna make sure you're closing it so that you have that 1 inch at the top. And then I'm just gonna line it up and then just let that flap lay down. Okay, then I'm gonna go back, and you might not be able to see it, but I can see a little dot of glue right there. And that tells me where I need to put my magnet. Let's see if I can find my dot of glue. There it is. So I'm gonna lay that right down on top. And I put the glue dot on the back so I know just which way to place it. And then what I did is I took my 3/4 inch circle punch and I made a little dot to cover that spot right there. Let me see if I have, I'll use some of the Mossy Meadow. I'm just gonna cut out a 3/4 inch circle, and I am just gonna put that right over the magnet. If you don't mind the magnet sticking out, that's fine. You do whichever way you like, but I'm just gonna cover it with the little dot there. Okay, so let's go ahead and close and see how we do here. There it is, it's perfect. Very simple to put together. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and create the handle. Another very simple. You're going to take a piece of the designer series paper. So you're gonna go back to the scraps you have left over, and you're gonna cut out a piece that is 2 inches by 12 inches. Then you're gonna grab your scoring board one more time, and you're going to score at 3/4 and 1.5. 3/4, 1.5. Okay, you will notice that your score lines don't create 3 absolutely equal parts, but that's okay. I just was trying to eliminate a little bit of the bulk so that when we round it, we'll have less trouble. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to those score lines and I'm folding over on both of the score lines. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold in the shorter one and then fold the larger one over top. Okay, so let's put a little bit of glue inside. I shouldn't say shorter, I should say thinner. This is a 1/2 inch by 12 inches. And then I'm just gonna put that over right down into the middle, take my bone folder, that works great to get that down nice and flat. Okay, then I'm going to take my Tombow again on my 3/4 inch panel. Then I'm going to fold that right over on top. Okay, and then I'm going to use my bone folder. Love this thing. This magically keeps it down. All right, so now I have my handle. Okay, now what you're going to want to do now is you're going to take your bone folder and you're going to not round, but you're going to bend your handle a little bit. You're kind of do the same thing to the paper that you do when you're trying to curl a ribbon. Okay, and so you can get a little bit of an angle like that. All right, one more thing I forgot with the scoring board. We're going to need to score at 1 inch at each end. All right, this is where, so we can make the little place that we glue to the top of the bag. So 1 inch, 11 inch. All right, so let's go ahead and bend those back and see, there we have our handle. Okay, let's bring our bag back in. And all I'm going to do is put glue on both of those 1 inch places. And then I'm going to glue it right here. And what I kind of did was I want it to have about the same amount of border around the side and the edge and the front and back there. And then I did the same thing over here. Okay, make sure you hold this for a little bit. You can even open up your bag and pinch down with your fingers, but you want to make sure these stay on very, very well. And they will once the Tombow dries. I've been really rough on my other ones and they've been held together very, very well. All right, so there is the handle. So there we have our bag. What do you think, ladies? I love these colors. So pretty. All right, last thing we need to do is make our tag. All right. I used the tailor-made tags for the tag. All right, these are current in the new catalog, and they have a whole bunch of different, they have 2 different styles and then different sizes of tags. And then you have these little circles and crescents that you can add to the top of your tag. Let me show you how that works. Here's my tag. And then I also cut out a circle. Here it is. There it is. Okay, out of the Mossy Meadow. And that gives your little tag a little bit of interest right around the circle there. Let me get my pick tool, would be easiest for this, and just pick that right up and put it right over the circle. That gives it a little bit of interest. I love that. Okay, now we're going to do just a tiny bit of stamping. I'm going to be using the Biggest Wish stamp set, but hey, whatever you have in your stash, you can use. Okay, I love these because there's all these really big words. I love the font of those, the cursive font. And these would be great for it if it's a bag you want to fill for a thank you gift or just a friendship gift. It's just really, really great. So the one I picked was Friend, and I'm going to use Mossy Meadow to stamp. Okay, just a little bit of stamping today, not much. Okay, so that goes right there in the center. Love it. Okay, now that's all the stamping, believe it or not. Last thing we need to do is pull out some ribbon. I found some ribbon that is Rich Razzleberry, and that's one of the colors in the Designer Series paper. But see what you have in your stash. It'll work perfectly. I'm going to grab a big piece of this, and I'm going to put the end through here. And then what I did is I tied it around one of the handle ends. Okay, I went with the right side, I think, with all of mine, but that's really up to you. Whatever you want to do. You don't even have to make a tag if you don't want to. Okay, so I'm going to pull that through and get this equal here, and then I'm going to tie the bow. But this could be something that could be used for any occasion. This would be lovely for Christmas, and any occasion would be wonderful. All right, so now I need to do a little bit of swooshing, and let's get those down a little bit. They're a little out of control, those loops. There we go. Okay, pull it one more time. I'm going to cut off the ends. And we are finished. Finished. And there we go. Now you could pick a different color for your tag if you like, or you can have no tag. So that is my bag. What do you guys think? Pretty cool? You think you could make that? I'm sure you could make it. If you try to make one, please take a picture of it and put it on our VIP page. I'd love to see what it looks like. But this might be one of my favorite projects I've made in quite a while. It's so funny that I like to sew little purses and I love to make them out of paper, but I really don't even carry a purse, which is kind of crazy. But I am funneling all my energy into paper and fabric, but I don't carry them. That's okay. All right, so that is that. And I have one more thing I want to talk about. Next time, we will be starting my 10 days of Halloween. Oh, you're welcome, Pat. Thank you for joining. So next Tuesday starts my 10 days of Halloween. I have 10 products, not 10 products, 10 projects ready to go to share with you. And we will be going every day starting next Tuesday for 2 weeks, not including the weekend. So it's called the 10 Days of Halloween. And here's a little sneak peek at the 10 projects. Take a look here. These are the 10 projects that are going to be, I'm going to show you how to make. And I used the same paper and the same stamp set for all of them. So the paper is great because it can be used for something other than Halloween. And I love the cute little silhouettes of the trick-or-treaters. So those 10 projects, I will be sharing the tutorials for those starting next Tuesday. So I'll go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, all the way up for 10 straight days and sharing all these great Halloween ideas because Halloween's coming up. That's the next big holiday. So I want you to have time to go ahead and make them. So those are going to be what we're going to make. And I'm very, very excited to share those with you. I love doing the Halloween projects and giving those to my trick-or-treaters. So thanks again for coming and joining me this evening. I was so excited to share with you that purse. It was a little bit longer than usual, but thank you so much for hanging in. And I hope you guys try to make the purse. Remember, all the information will be on my blog and the downloadable PDF. If you have any questions about it, please don't hesitate to message me. I'll be glad to help you with anything you're making. So have a wonderful week and happy stamping. Bye now.